Guys, we have to talk about something serious. Turning off the lights or turning to you live. Who's actually me? No filters, no screens. I hope everybody is doing well today. Quiet. Maybe I'm just might be being quiet. I have something serious to talk about. Um, I made a mistake today, guys. I fucked up. Fucked up on something and it's fucked us all. So, out with it. Uh, first things first, I literally just spilled on myself seconds before I unmuted. That just happened. This was clean before. Second, hi, Chris. Oh, second, my hair is so curly. We have to talk about that later. But I have to own up about this mistake I made. Okay. I'm mad at myself. I'm mad. But I think some of you guys know my process, which is I don't usually listen to any court beforehand. I don't tend to make a lot of thumbnails in case you haven't noticed. And I sort of like wing it in a way, and we like that. That's sort of the vibe that we're going for here, if you will. What that usually entails is me getting court and then like downloading it in its entirety as much as possible. Then I sort of decide what to watch, and then maybe I'll sometimes be able to throw together a thumbnail or title that has something catchy in it because I happened to catch that while I was scrubbing through it. Today I made the mistake of downloading the first part of this divorce and then getting sidetracked and making the thumbnail and listening to it before downloading the other two parts, which when I went back to download them, they were not available anymore. So I faced a tough afternoon punch in the face to my plans because I was it was a lot of hours of content and I only got the first two. Obviously it's juicy as fuck. Otherwise, why would he delete them? He doesn't delete everything else. Everything else is still up there for right now. And so we have this dilemma. It literally put me in a bad mood. I'll tell you that. I'm being totally honest because I know I could have done it if I had done my usual thing, which is like quick download and then deal with it later. But I changed my plan. I deviated, trying to be all fucking New Year's organized in a way. Like, oh, you make a thumbnail. Anyway, so we have 2 hours, and so far it's sort of juicy. But I gotta be honest, we don't have anything else unless somebody else in the community comes through and has it already. Then we're, well, how you say, fucked for the rest of it. But we're still gonna watch it as far as I can tell. Lucy, thanks for being here. So now that I've done that, we can talk about my hair. So, but first of all, I just want to also say, here we go. Yeah, thumbnails are overrated, absolutely. Moral of the story actually is maybe do what you do normally. I don't know. Thumbnails are a bit overrated, but they are important. Uh, I think more importantly though, when you're try not to let things fuck you over. So for example, there's probably an era of me that would not even be able to recover from something like that. Like, oh, what I wanted to do a live show on tonight is no longer available, even though you just made like a poster about it and posted it. And then, like, I'm just saying, like, it's funny because back in the day, I can see myself just losing my absolute shit. Not my any YouTube days, but just when I was a lot younger, I'd have a hard time moving on from something like that. Whereas right now, I'm like, we're gonna watch an hour and 50 minutes of this, and then we'll see what we do. And that's the way it is. This is what we get. We get what we get, and we don't get upset. Then we can talk about my hair. So here's the thing. I don't want to be rude, but when you have straight hair normally, I feel like I'm impersonating somebody with curly hair and it doesn't look like me and it's quite off-putting to my brain. It feels like a wig or a hairpiece, even though it's my hair. And I just find it hilarious. Also, again, I'd like to just give a shout out to my curly haired girls out there and guys, I guess. Uh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if people ever like rushed you when you were brushing your hair, trying to figure that shit out. Okay. When your hair is straight like mine, you just literally need to brush it maybe 5 times and then it's just sort of flat and straight. It is so fucking just defeatingly difficult to deal with curly hair. Also, bye, Chris. I hope you managed to sleep at some point today. Anyway, so my hair though is very curly and I it will only get less curly as the day and time goes on because my hair in fact is very straight and that's the way it is. Um but I do, when you like, funny enough, straightened hair is one of the simplest hairstyles you can explain to somebody, right? Try and explain any other hairstyle as simply as straightened. Even curly, you there's so many dimensions of curly hair. Straightened hair is just like very very straightforward. And I guess I just didn't appreciate that as much as the reality of what dimensions of curly hair can occur and have and be whatever. Also, I did make videos of me revealing my hair in curlers to myself, which I think are funny. Maybe one day I'll release those like as memories only. But um my hair like literally as straight usually and fine as you can get it. And it's super long. Like my hair is really long. So these curls are like super duper long and my hair is up in a ponytail. But like some of them are like super duper long. Well, I mean, I guess they're all super duper long, but the curls, I mean, are like, anyways. We'll see. I'll bring it down here in a minute. I'll put on the green screen now that I've owned up to the fact that we don't get to see the end of this divorce. I apologize. I fucking wish we did. If somebody else knows how to get it, let's talk. But we're gonna go ahead and get working on, oh, and I'll hold on. I need to do a little bit of Harry Potter magic here. If I'll just dip off the screen for a moment while you guys can get working on this. I even labeled it. I put divorce part 1 and then I went back for part 2 and wasn't there.
2024. The 37th Circuit Court is now in session with the Honorable Brian K. Kirkham presiding. It is Friday, January 5th, 2024 at 8:28 a.m.
Good morning, Mr. Chapman.
Good morning, Your Honor.
You can proceed when you're ready.
Thank you. Before the court is Robert Mayarka of case 132575DM. Mr. Mayarka is here today after failing to appear before this court on July 26, 2023. Bond is currently set at $1,050. This is the second bench warrant. He reports that he is employed at Martin J.D. Steel Erectors. Last payment made on this account was in July of 2023. Front of the court recommends that a reasonable bond be set in this matter and it be scheduled for hearing on January 17th, 2024 at 8:00 a.m. before this court.
Mr. Mallorca, you're before the court charged with civil contempt of court due to your failure to appear at a prior hearing as a result of your failure to pay child support. Purpose of this hearing is to set a bond that would assure your tenants at the next hearing on January 17, 2024 at 8:00 a.m. You will get notice of that in writing. Are you able to post a bond, sir?
I'm not for sure.
Okay. Well, what happens is I do notice your second bench warrant, but go ahead.
I've called down here when I started working. I've called down here to the court and let them know I was working so they could start taking it out of my check. Why they haven't been doing that, I don't know.
Okay.
And
well, when they weren't taking out your check, why didn't you pay individually and yourself?
I don't know because of the warrant, I guess. But
well, that doesn't stop you from paying.
Right. I understand that. That.
Well, what I'm going to do is it is your second bench warrant. I am going to reduce your bond in hopes that you could be released pending that hearing. I'm going to set your bond. Go ahead. What?
The day that of my hearing, I thought it was at 10 o'clock and I guess it was at 9 o'clock. So I called, but I was an hour late on that call. And so it wasn't like I was trying to miss the court date.
Okay.
I tried to get a hold of somebody that day and it just nothing.
He wasn't trying to miss it, but he defectively missed it. It's a good try. Like, we're not going to try and get you in trouble. Oh my gosh, my hair. But effectively, you are in jail because you missed it. Right? Is that what I'm to understand? Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set your bond in the amount of $200, and if you're able to post that, you'd be able to be released. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. No, I don't.
Okay. Okay. You're free to go. Have a good day, sir.
Thank you.
Also, it's a bit mean to say you're free to go to somebody who's not free to go, like they're in jail until they pay $200. Your $200 to go would be more appropriate, right?
And now before the court is Ramon Johnson of cases 17568DP, case 211438DP, and case 162405DS. In each of these matters, Mr. Johnson is here today after failing to appear before the domestic relations referee on February 20th, 2020. In the first case, bond is currently set at $1,500. This is the third bench warrant. In the second case, bond is currently $579. This is the first bench warrant. And in the third case, bond is currently $915, and this is the third bench warrant. He reports no employment. Last payment made on these accounts was in September of 2018. Front of the court recommends that reasonable bonds be set in these matters and they be scheduled for hearing on January 17th, 2024 at 8:00 a.m. before this court.
Thank you. Mr. Johnson, you're before the court charged with civil contempt of court due to your failure to appear at a prior hearing as a result of your failure to pay child support. The purpose of this hearing is to set a bond that would assure your attendance at the next hearing on January 17, 2024 at 8:00 a.m. Are you able to post a bond, sir?
Yeah, I can pay at least 75 per case.
Okay, well, unfortunately with the third, you haven't paid in over 5 years. And you do have sizable arrearages in all the cases. What I'm going to do is in the first case, the 2017 case, I'm going to set your bond in the amount of $500. And in the 2021 case, I'll set your bond in the amount of $100. And in the 2016 case, I'll set your bond in the amount of $200. So if you're able to post that, you'd be able to be released. Do you have any questions?
So my bond is set to $800.
$800 total, correct.
I don't know if I'm gonna be able to post that. I
Okay,
can at least 500, 600.
okay. Well, see what you can do, and that concludes this hearing. You're free to go. Have a good day.
And I have some bench warrants for the record if I may.
Okay, go ahead.
Malik Burton of case 2017-3379DS. James Brostler of cases 021708DP and case 043325DM. Robert Burden of case 132656DM. Justin Thayer.
I don't know what to do with the hair. I don't know what to do with the fucking video. When does the fucking divorce start? I watched it earlier. I'm bored of. There it is. Okay, here we go. So the lady in the there's some allegations that we start to hear. So let's listen as we get started. Darker? I don't think it's any darker. I didn't dye it. I just curled it. Literally. That's all I did.
Morning.
Good morning.
Is your client with you, Mr. Schaefer?
He is.
Okay, all right. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. So, all right, this is 2023-270 DM, Jessica Lamkin versus Clyde Lamkin. It is Friday, January 5th, 2024 at 8:38 a.m. Attorney Core for plaintiff and Attorney Schaefer for defendant.
Good morning to everyone.
Good morning, Judge.
I guess I'll ask you, Ms. Greenlee-Flor, you're the plaintiff in this matter. You're ready to proceed at this time?
We are, yes, and I can give the court a brief update with what's going on procedurally.
Okay, Mr. Schaefer, are you ready to proceed?
We're ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Okay, Ms. Greenlee-Flor, what did you have before we commence?
So as my trial brief indicated, we did complete mediation per the court order to do so. We did complete the property mediation. That is one of my exhibits. I believe property issues have been settled at this point. So the only issue we're dealing with today is parenting time, custody, and child support.
Okay. Mr. Schaefer, is that accurate?
I think it's accurate that the property issues have been settled through mediation. There is a mediation agreement that has been signed by the parties. I think what is left is what indicated by opposing counsel plus the issue of spousal support.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Greenlee-Flor, do you wish to make an opening statement or proceed to proofs?
I wish to make a brief opening statement, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ooh, well, we know that a lawyer's literal meaning of brief is different than ours, so this will not be brief, I'm sure. Like I've already stated, but I'm gonna state again, I don't have the rest of this. We'll watch all that we've got, which is a lot, but I don't have it all. And I'm mad and sad about it too. But that's the way we do.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, as indicated in my trial brief, Mr. Lampkin was defaulted all the way back in May of 2023. He's making an argument today, firstly, for spousal support. I believe that's precluded. The default was never set aside at this point. And as this court will see, based on the evidence we're going to propose today, there is no reason to award spousal support to father from mother. In fact, there's a good reason to order spousal support from father to mother if this court were inclined to do so. But I think it's important to first of all note that there is still a default against Mr. Lampkin. Today, we're going to be dealing with 3 minor children. The parties were separated November 18th, 2022. The case was filed in January 2023, so almost a year ago as of this month. Again, Mr. Lampkin was defaulted in May of 2023, and the motion for entry of a default judgment was heard on August 7th of 2023, where this court declined to set aside the default, but also declined to enter our proposed judgment of divorce. That judgment of divorce did propose parenting time pursuant to the status quo. Since the party's separation, father has been basically non-existent in the minor children's lives. I pointed out in my brief that father has had a total of 11 overnights with his son Robbie, 4 overnights with Sadie, and 0 overnights with Delaney since November of 2022. He's continued to prioritize himself instead of time with his minor children, and we believe that reflects in what's been going on with these parents and the minor children. Today, we are asking that mother be awarded sole legal and sole physical custody of the minor children. As this court is also aware, there's also a PPO that was issued from father against father to mother based on his behavior. Father has drinking issues. He's been intimidating to mother. He's been rude to mother. He's been completely inappropriate with mother and exhibited stalking behavior. So legal custody is not a possibility at this point. It's our understanding also that at the last PPO hearing, our family wizard was ordered to be used for communication between these parties. There's no order that says that yet. It's my understanding that Mr. Schaefer was to prepare.
Hashtag not a sponsor yet. Our family wizard. Reach out.
That order. However, it's not been issued yet, but that can also be issued through this case. So that would be the only way that these parties should be communicating at this point. And again, only about the minor children. But again, joint legal custody is not appropriate at this time. Father's parenting time should be, as the parties can agree, it might make sense to order father to attend counseling with the minor children. With the intention of trying to do some sort of reconciliation, but at this point in time, ordered parenting time for father is not appropriate. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Schaefer, any opening statement or wish to reserve or waive your opening statement?
I'll give an opening statement, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, we have a divorce matter here involving the children and spousal support and support in parenting time. This is a marriage in 2004, so it's a little short of 20 years. These 3 minor children are teenagers, and we have gone through the mediation as indicated by stipulation, and there's been an agreement, and the division of property has taken place. There's a couple hiccups in that regard, one of which is that the marital home on Orchard Drive was awarded to the plaintiff mother, with a 6-month time period for her to get the financing out of the name of the defendant so that he can have credit to repurchase a proper home. My client is currently renting an apartment at this point in time. The proofs are going to show, Your Honor, that the established custodial environment is with both of the parents. These 2 parents have raised these 3 children all of their lives. They have done that jointly. The proofs are going to show that in 2021, the plaintiff mother was involved in an affair that led to the breakdown in the marriage. There was separation in 22. There was an effort to reconcile in 22, and then another separation in November 22 because of this affair of the plaintiff mother. So the cause of the breakdown is on the plaintiff in this particular matter, should be taken into consideration both on the best interest factors and the factors for spousal support. The proofs are going to show that during the marriage, marital funds were expended for the plaintiff mother to improve her ability to gain income. She has obtained a master's throughout the marriage. As a result of it, our position is that she currently has a position with Carnegie where she makes $84,000 a year. My client has a high school degree. He is a has a private construction company. He makes between $20,000 and $30,000 a year. The proofs are going to show that joint returns for 21 and 22, the last ones that are in existence, are an accurate representation of his income at this point in time and reflects that. And the proofs will show that his income for 23 are going to be similar to that of 22. Those returns obviously have not been completed yet, but turned over to the accountant for that determination. The proofs are going to show that my client has supported both emotionally and financially these children throughout the separation period. He has a good relationship with the children at this point in time. He's dealing with teenage kids, some of whom have more activities and desires to be where they are than others, but that is the lay of the land. But he does have contact with them, if not daily, weekly, and participates in their lives, their extracurricular activities. He provides them with monies. He pays, pays for educational trips for them. The proofs are going to show that the kids are good students, and they have been. And that's a kudo and a blessing that both these parents have, is that their kids do well in school. My client has contact with the kids, as I indicated, on a weekly basis and participates in their lives. We are asking that there be joint legal and physical custody for the kids with both the parents, because that's the established custodial environment that has taken place over the last the full lives of all of these kids. Should be based on the incomes. Support should be based on the incomes of both of the parents, $4,000 for the mother, and between $20,000 and $30,000 for the father in this particular matter. We are asking that the parenting be a flexible parenting time based on the activities of the kids to augment and complement their schedules. They have active schedules. All three of the kids indicates are in sports, so they have that plus their academics. Show that my client believes, based on the input back to him from the kids, that the plaintiff mother has not encouraged this relationship during the separation time with the kids, and has tried to poison the kids against the father. Proofs are also going to indicate that her affair that began back in 21 continues to this day, and this person is still part of her life, and she's amalgamated that into the children's lives also, which should be taken into consideration. Your Honor, the parents have communicating, that's going to be agreed. I think there probably needs to be some sort of co-parenting counseling that would benefit both of them to participate in for the benefit of the children. The long and the short of this, Your Honor, is that we've got a long marriage. We've got fault involved on the plaintiff wife. We've got disparity of incomes, and we are going to be asking for spousal support for a short period of time to equalize the earning capacity and to get my client back on the road of trying to equalize the income of these parties. And that's the position of the defendant, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Clore, you can call your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. For my reference, does the court want me to share exhibits when I put them on the screen or just reference
Yes.
them?
Yep, we'll have you share those.
Okay, very good. All right, I'd like to call Miss Jessica Lampkin.
Okay, Ms. Lamb.
Okay, well, Miss Lambkin, you're almost up, and before you come up, I'm up to bat here. If you're just getting here, welcome. Make sure that you've clocked in for your shift by hitting the like button. If you're watching this in the future, give me a break. I didn't get this whole case, but look how much I did. We still have an hour 30, 127 of this case that we're going to watch, and if somebody else comes through in the clutch and gives me the rest of the case, I mean, we'll give them credit. What I would like is for people to just keep that in mind. But let's see what Jessica Lampkin has to say. It's a little juicy. I'll say that. It's a little juicy. Oh, also, Cellulite Yoga Pants, you asked about adding the Amazon wish list to the link tree. I believe that that is done now. I don't know if the link tree is linked somehow, but it is on the link tree that's linked on the YouTube channel.
We'll have you raise your right hand, be sworn in, then we'll proceed.
Ma'am, do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you are about to give shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, go ahead, Ms. Greenlee-Carr.
Thank you. Miss Lampkin, can you please state your spouse's name?
Clyde Robert Lampkin II.
And he goes by Rob, is that correct?
Yes.
Did you separate on or about November 18th of 2022?
Yes.
What was the cause of your separation?
Several things. There's been a long history of alcohol and drug abuse from Clyde. There's also been a lot of emotional abuse from him as well. It's just been a very difficult marriage with him, and so that ultimately led to the breakdown of the marriage. He also urged me to have relations with other men for 8 years, and I did not want to go along with that. And when
What? Sorry, what? She just dropped this bombshell. You can see what happened. I like scrubbed through. I started listening to this and I was like, she said what now? Then I started making the thumbnail and then fucking didn't go back and get the still let's do it. I'm so mad.
I finally did, he was aware of the situation, and that we tried to work things out, and it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. And did he ever step outside of the marriage to your knowledge?
Yes, he has. Okay,
how many times?
I'm unaware of the times. There have just been a lot of situations with women that I've dealt with from the beginning of our relationship. I never really had a lot of evidence that I could show to the court today, but it's definitely something that's been an ongoing issue in our relationship with him.
And just to get it out of the way, at the initial separation, was was Rob with somebody else?
Yeah, actually, he told me that in September of 2022, his current girlfriend, who is 26 years old, was showing interest in him, and he had known her for 8 years previously, unbeknownst to me, that he had some sort of relationship with this woman. And the day that we separated on November 18th, he was actually with her. He admitted this. And then 1 week to the day of our separation, he bought an engagement ring from K Jewelers, and the actual purchase is shown in the exhibit the exhibit 2, excuse me.
Okay. All right. And so you said in November of 2022, he purchased an engagement ring for her?
Yes, and he admitted that to me over the telephone.
Okay. And to the best of your knowledge, is he still with her today?
Oh, he is.
Okay. And how old is Rob?
Oh, 44.
Okay. And his current girlfriend, to the best of your knowledge information, I believe she's 26.
She just turned 26 in September, yes.
Do you know if she's had any contact with your children?
Oh yeah, she's been around. She has stayed the night with my children in the same household. She's around my children quite often whenever they do spend time with them.
Your Honor, I guess I'm going to object unless there's a proper foundation for that. If she has personal knowledge, fine. But it sounds like it's not personal.
Okay,
I'll strike that, Your Honor. That's fine.
okay, go ahead.
All right. Ms. Lampkin, can you please state your children's names and ages? So not dates of birth, just their ages.
Yes, we do have Aiden Lampkin, who is 20 years old. We have Delaney Lampkin, who is 16 years old. We have Sadie Lampkin, who is 15, and Robbie Lampkin is 13.
Okay, so the three that are still in the house are all teenagers, is that right?
Yes, exactly.
And what's happened with Rob's relationship with the kids since you separated?
He has had very little contact with them, especially in the beginning. I was always trying to urge them and him to have a good relationship with each other. On many occasions, I would text him and say, are you going to see the kids? You know, this is unfair to the kids that you're not spending time with them. And he told me that it was too difficult for him. And unfortunately, that's not fair to the children. It's the times that he did spend with them were very tumultuous. And at times in front of me, he has, he has talked to the children, talked down to the children. He has cussed at them and really interrogated them. And so it's been a very strenuous relationship. They don't feel comfortable.
Well, hang on, Jessica, we can't go into what they feel, okay, because that's going to go into hearsay, okay? But
Yes.
let's break this down. So going back to the amount of time that he spent with them, you initially began encouraging the parenting time with him, and his response to you was that it was too difficult to spend time with him. Is that right?
Yeah, and it was mostly because of his emotional state, apparently.
And how long did that go on?
Honestly, for I would say several months, he had very, very little contact with them. I feel like he would pick them up for school some mornings and help in that regard, but that was kind of the extent of the parenting time that he had with them. He started to make a little bit more of an effort, but it was kind of too late at that point. They're I was gonna say their feelings, but I can't talk about that. So yeah, it was few and far between.
Okay. What kind of love, affection, or other emotional ties, in your opinion, exist between the children and dad at this point?
Honestly, I don't feel like there is a lot of strong emotional ties. I feel like at this point, it's more they would like to see what they could get from their father because he is absent. So it's kind
Your
of.
Honor, I guess I'm going to object as to what children are doing, or some foundation. It's either hearsay or speculation, or there's no foundation. He has personal knowledge of it.
Ms. Greenlee-Clark, court will sustain the objection unless you can make a foundation.
Billy, that would depend on if your girlfriend ever allowed it to begin with. If you were allowed to fool around without her around, then no, that's not an affair. If you weren't, and the understanding was that you were together during all subsequent or all experiences, then yes, that would be an affair.
Okay. All right. Ms. Lamb, can you just can't speculate about what they want or those kinds of things, but in your opinion, the children have a low love, affection, or emotional ties with dad at this point.
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about their love, affection, and emotional ties with you. What's your relationship with them like?
We're obviously very close. We're together every single day. I am their sole protector. We have not been separated besides obviously for like a work trip or something like that. My children are with me all the time. We have a very good relationship. We communicate. We have a very loving and affectionate relationship. I am constantly telling them that I want them to have a good relationship with their father. We do communicate about everything, and it always turns positive because that's the way that I look at things. I don't think it's fair that they have been put in this situation. I don't think it's fair that their father hasn't given them the time that they deserve. And it's very hurtful to them. And so I've been a strong supporter of just helping them through this situation as much as possible. Delaney has been in counseling. The other two haven't expressed interest in that at this point, but and our oldest son also has been through counseling as well. A lot of things that they have been through their childhood regarding their father has really caused a lot of issues that they're trying to work through.
Your Honor, I guess, again, I'm going to object to the opinion of what the counseling is about. It's an opinion that is unsupported by foundation or fact.
Well, she can give her opinion, and you can address that on cross-examination.
Okay. Jessica, going to you talked about the children's history. What kind of things happened during the marriage or during the time you were together with Rob to the children? What kind of a parent was he?
Honestly, I feel like there were times where he would put in effort with them. But a lot of times he was really focused on himself. He, I kind of feel like I always had to be the one to tell him where we needed to be for the children, what we needed to do. And then when we separated, I wasn't that person to him anymore. So he just really put that aside and wasn't unable to be a part of their lives. He had a lot of drinking episodes that put the children in dangerous situations. He would drink and drive with them quite often. It was a constant problem that we had to deal with, and something that I brought up to him over and over again, and he continued to do so. The children did not feel safe very often.
Your Honor, again, I'm going to object as to what the feeling of the
Sustained.
Yeah, Jessica, please be careful about saying the feelings of your children. We need to focus on just your observations and your personal knowledge, okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to break this down a little bit more. So you indicated that there were times where you personally witnessed Rob driving drunk with the minor children. Is that correct?
Yes, he would come home with the children in the vehicle and obviously intoxicated.
Okay, and that was more than once, I'm assuming.
Oh, it was countless times. I can't even recall how many times. I will testify to one time.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. There's just one little problem with that. Why were they with him when he was drunk? If you knew he had a habit of drinking and driving with them. That doesn't sound like protective parenting to me. And it also sounds like it wasn't a problem when you were together. It's just a problem now. People don't get it. Like divorce is such a nasty little thing, and I get that, but you have to be careful when you throw knives or throw accusations at somebody about their behavior when you were complicit to that behavior at some point. Not good at all. No, 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 no. Also, welcome. If you're just getting here, or you're just watching for the first time, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. Make sure you've clocked in for your shift. Cloud Illusions is here. Vicky's here. She's hungry. Nancy says, I look amazing. Thank you, Nancy. Doggy Deb says they were probably both drinking. William knows a lot about middle-aged women's libidos. Coming at you live from Menopause Alley, William. William, ladies and gentlemen, William.
And during the separation, I had a work meeting, and he came by the house to talk to me. And I told him that the kids had an appointment at the doctor's office for their yearly checkup and their sports physicals, and asked if he could help take them. He said he would, and that he would pick them up from school. I then got a phone call from the doctor's office, and they said, you need to
Objection, Your Honor, here.
Jessica?
Objection.
Sustain.
Yeah, Jessica, remember, you can't say what people said, okay? So really watch that here.
Jessica, could you please stop with your regular Instagram rant that you are normally giving your girlfriends over brunch while your husband is day drinking with your kids? Could you just stop that, Jessica? Also, did you use like overnight curls, or like how did you get that like really soft curl in your hair? Because I don't know. I'm on a hair journey as well as like a makeup journey over the next year. And while like I don't have a husband anymore, thank God. But if I did, I can tell you right now, he would never be driving drunk with our kids after the first time I found out about it. Because I would either never let him drive with our kids again, or never let him drive again. I mean, like, seriously, I'm not really quite sure why that seems to be a standard thing that you think was normal when you were married. Like, oh, when we're a team, we divide our blood alcohol level. So, in fact, we were in a poly relationship. So there was three of us, which means that between three of us, if you divide his blood alcohol level by three, we're all good. A-okay. Yeah.
Say, okay? Or let me rephrase that question. Were you ever asked to pick up the minor children because Rob was intoxicated?
Yes, I was asked
Objection,
by the
leading
doctor's
question, Your Honor.
office.
Ms. Greenlee Clark, what's your response?
I don't see how that's a leading question. I asked her a general open-ended question.
Well, the question was, did you get a request from somebody to pick them up because of a reason? That is a leading question.
Well, it definitely borders on that. If not, it does border on hearsay when saying if somebody contacted her for that purpose. So I'll sustain the objection unless you can lay a foundation.
Thank you. All right, as to your knowledge, Jessica, has Rob ever been had a DUI or any sort of legal action regarding his drinking?
He did when he was younger. I think he was about 21 when that
Okay,
happened.
not during your marriage.
No.
Did he ever participate in rehabilitation services or any sort of counseling during your marriage?
Yes, he did. During the time that we were trying to reconcile, he was in AA.
Okay, when was that?
I'm unsure of the time exactly. It was during so it was 2022.
Okay, sometime in 2022.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I want to go to the capacity and disposition of both of you to provide love, affection, and guidance, and continue the education and the raising of the children. So first of all, I want to talk about are you involved in church with the minor children?
We do go occasionally. We did have a home church. We haven't been on a normal basis, but we have been a few times this year. Well, technically 2022, we went several times.
Okay. What about Rob? Is he involved in any sort of religious services with the minor children?
No.
No. What
Do you think that's a wild poll, Mikey? Can you hear me? Or are you just watching? Is the question. Um, is it a wild poll? Billy, you think it's a wild poll as well? I don't know. I think it's a pretty good question. Tell me the truth. I haven't looked at the results lately. Let me go and look. I wasn't muted. Well, there we go.
about Rob's ability to help the kids with their homework? Did you ever observe him helping them do their schoolwork or their homework?
I mean, I'm sure there were times in the past that he may have, definitely not something anytime recently.
What about his involvement in going to the kids' school conferences?
Again, he used to go with me. We would go together to conferences previously. He hasn't been to anything recently within the
Okay.
past year or two.
Okay, so within the past year or two, he hasn't gone to any school conferences?
Right.
What about going to any extracurricular activities with the minor children? Does he go to those and watch or participate?
He's actually missed out on a lot of those. He will show up here and there to some of the events, whereas I'm at every single event for the children. Obviously, if one's having a game at the same time as the other, I can't be at two places at once, but I definitely show up to as much as I possibly can, whereas he doesn't show up at all to many this season.
I'm going to object, Your Honor. If she's indicating she can't be at every one at the same time, so she has no personal knowledge if he showed up at ones that she didn't show up at.
Well, maybe she can testify as to the events that she's at, Miss Greenleaf-Law.
Sure. Ms. Lampkin, based on the events that you're at, how often would you say Mr. Lampkin shows up?
It's very few. Robbie just finished his basketball season. He had 12 games. Rob showed up to 2 at the very end. He has been to Sadie's games recently. He did miss some of her games last year. But Delaney's games, he came last night, but he has actually been at the facility and then left for Delaney's games. And so that's, he has not been to all of hers.
So when you say been at the facility and left, what does that mean?
So
Like you left early?
Sadie plays basketball before Delaney, excuse me. On some days he came to watch Sadie and then left for Delaney's game.
Okay, have you ever asked him why?
No, we were not having contact at that time.
Okay. Since he has retained an attorney, has he been notably more present for games or activities?
I would say more recently, within the past month, he started showing up, but he wasn't before that.
Okay. What about his ability? Does he ever provide any clothing for the minor children?
Here and there. It's very small amounts.
Okay. What about medical appointments? Does he attend any of their medical appointments?
Besides that one that I've asked his help on, no.
Okay. So when you say no, is in the last year, he hasn't attended any medical appointments. Is that correct?
Correct.
What about before that? Was he involved in going to their medical appointments?
He would help, yes.
Okay. With all of them, with half of them?
It's really hard to say. He would take the kids if I had work meetings or something like that. He would definitely step up and take them when I couldn't.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that you were the primary parent that took the children to medical appointments?
No, there was a time that I felt like because of his job and his flexibility, he was able to help with that more than I was because I had a structured, work routine.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And what about scheduling the appointments? Was he ever involved in scheduling appointments?
No.
So he was taking them to appointments at one point, but you were doing the scheduling.
Yeah, I would say here and there, he might have scheduled some once in a while, but the majority of the scheduling, the organization for the children, it's always been on me.
Okay. And you're still in the marital home, correct?
Correct.
And you intend to remain in that home, providing a stable environment for the minor children?
Yes.
And in fact, that's what our mediation agreement indicates, correct?
Correct.
Do you know or have any personal knowledge about where Rob is living?
Yes, he's in, I guess it would be called like a duplex or triplex.
Okay, and that's something he's renting?
Yes, he's renting it from a friend.
Have you been there?
I have not been inside, no, but I've been to the place
Okay.
outside.
Do you have any knowledge about how many bedrooms there are?
I believe there is
Your
one.
Honor, she hasn't been inside, so unless it's from the defendant, it's gonna be hearsay.
Okay, Ms. Greenlee Floor,
Yep, I'll just rephrase that. Do you have
Okay.
personal knowledge, or has Rob told you how many bedrooms there are?
Yes, he's told me there's one.
Okay, so he's told you that there's one bedroom in this duplex or triplex where he's living.
Yes.
Has he told you whether he has any beds or sleeping arrangements for the minor children?
He does not. He has told me he does not.
Okay. Has he ever asked you to have overnights with the minor children?
Yes.
And how many times has he asked you to have overnights?
I'm not sure exactly how many times he's asked, but every time he's asked, I've allowed that to happen. I've never kept the kids from him.
Okay, so if we look at the number of overnights that he's had in the last year since your separation of November of 2022, are those the times that he's asked to have overnights?
Yep.
So in the last year, since November of 2022, how many overnights has he had with Robbie, your son?
He's actually had 12. He just stayed the night on Tuesday night.
Okay, so one more than since we submitted our trial brief.
Exactly.
Okay, and has Rob ever told you where Robbie sleeps during that time?
No.
Okay, what about Sadie? How many overnights has he had with Sadie?
4, and I was actually on a work trip during that time.
Okay, and what about Delaney?
0.
Has he asked to have any overnights at all with your daughters?
I'm sure he has. I don't know 100%. He hasn't said it to me directly.
Okay, so he hasn't asked you for any overnights with your daughters.
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, he might have said, I want to spend time with the kids or have the kids. I'm assuming that might mean staying the night, but he never directly came out and said, I want Delaney to stay the night with me. Or Sadie.
Okay. Let's talk about excuse me, Mr. Clyde, Mr. Lampkin's travels. Has he indicated to you that he's taken any vacations in the last year?
Oh, definitely.
Relevant, Your Honor?
This has to do directly with his ability.
This is exactly how I feel when my ex-husband asked me about all my vacations this year. Which were not vacations, they were working trips that I go on. Obviously.
To exercise parenting time and his involvement with the minor children.
well, I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Ms. Lampkin, and I want to focus just on what Mr. Lampkin has told you. Okay. What has he told you he's done in the last year?
He has actually went to 6 different countries since January of 2023.
Your Honor, I guess the question was what was told to him, so I want to
He's
make
told
sure the
me.
foundation is what was told to her.
Yes, he has told me directly.
Okay, Jessica, you have to wait until the judge makes a ruling, okay?
Oh, sorry.
Okay, as long as he's told her, then the court will accept that.
Okay, Jessica, if you can indicate, I want to go trip by trip. What did he tell you first?
We had a trip planned to Grenada that I booked. He removed.
Okay, so she booked a trip. Nice. Why are you so bitchy about who booked it if you're together? It's just a trip, right? But thank you to anybody who pays for a trip. That's so sweet and kind. And I appreciate it so much. Please keep doing that.
My name from that vacation and put his girlfriend's name on that vacation in January 2023 and took her to Grenada. They spent time in Florida as well as the Bahamas, and it was a 3+ week trip. That was the first vacation that he told me about. He also went to Nicaragua and Costa
hold on. Sorry. It's just a deep, deep part of me that is actually almost shedding a tear right now about not getting the rest of this case. Oh, I don't even care what happens to their kids, but the fact that we don't get to know. Oh, it's clean. Anyways, oh, it's so fucking juicy. Oh, what fucking balls do you have to take her name off of a vacation and take your girlfriend? Are you joking me? Oh, my tears have dried up. Oh my goodness.
Costa Rica on a 2+ week trip, April 25th through May 9th. And those are, I don't have the exact date, so it's around those dates, but he did tell me he was there. He also went to Florida several times, July, the beginning of July, the end of July. And then he went to Curacao in September with his girlfriend. And he also went to Niagara Falls in October with his girlfriend.
Okay. And how long were those last few trips, if you know?
Extended weekends.
Okay. And if you know, did Rob tell you how he was paying for these trips?
No.
Okay. What about your travel? Have you traveled in the last year outside of work trips?
We also had another trip planned for February. It's an extended weekend in Long Beach, California. I went to that trip, and then I took my daughter to a trip to Boston for Future Medical Leaders of America Congress, and that was an extended weekend as well. And that's it.
Okay.
I'm able to I can't afford any more vacations.
Okay. And have you been the one providing all of their food and clothing?
Yes, he does provide monies to them here and there for food and clothing when they ask.
Okay. But he was initially providing some cash to you, is that correct?
Yes, he was giving me $1,000 a month up until September was the last, and it was $1,000 a month.
Okay. And since that time, he hasn't offered you any sort of support for the kids?
I received zero monies from him since September.
Okay. So you've paid for all the children's extracurricular activity expenses and fees and everything, and he hasn't assisted with any of that?
No, he has not.
Okay. Based on your knowledge, does Rob have any sort of physical limitations that would limit his ability to parent?
No.
What about you? Do you have any physical limitations that would limit your ability to parent?
I do not.
Okay. How are your kids doing in school?
They're doing great. I'm very proud of my kids. They've been very strong through this whole situation, and they have persisted and done a really good job maintaining their school grades and their extracurricular activities, and I'm really proud of them.
Okay. What about your willingness to support and facilitate the minor children's relationship with dad? Or how have you done that in the last year?
It all starts with communication with my kids. I'm constantly talking to them about reaching out to their father, to have a good relationship with their father. When he does reach out, if they don't want to go, I tell them they should definitely go and spend time with him. I have never kept them from him. I have not poisoned them, as has been brought up. I do nothing but encourage their relationship with him.
Do you have any personal knowledge, and it's okay if you don't, but do you have any personal knowledge about Rob's ability or willingness to facilitate and promote a relationship with you and the minor children?
What he has said in front of me to the children about having, you know, a positive relationship with me has been a very negative conversation. It's a lot of the reason why we're in the situation we are is it's my fault, and the children, if they have any type of any negative situations based off of that, it's all my fault. So, you know, I'm the reason why they're going through the difficulties in life and why they can't do the things that they used to do. He has told me that he didn't want to pay for their cell phone bills, and he has not helped pay for any of the education trips, and said he would not do so because those were privileges. And he wanted to take away the privileges of the children because at the end of the day, he wanted to show that it was because of me that they were not allowed to have and do those things. However, I continue to push through and make sure those things happen for my children.
Okay, so you talked about privileges that you continue paying for. Let's go to these education trips. These educational trips, were those planned on and signed up for while you and Mr. Lampkin were together?
Yes, they were.
And that was something that you both agreed that the kids would be attending?
Yes.
Get me in trouble.
When were those trips supposed to happen?
Delaney has already been on one, and that took place last spring break of 2022. Sadie and Delaney both were supposed to go to spring break of 2023 she went. And then 2024, there were 2 upcoming trips. Sadie does not want to go, so I canceled that trip and lost. I ended up having to pay a $600 cancellation fee for her canceled trip. I paid for the majority of both of Delaney's trips. Her trip is paid off for spring break of 2024. He did not help me from November 2022 on. I've been paying for it myself.
Okay, so even though this was something that you guys mutually agreed to, he kind of left you in the lurch there to pay for that and to carry out that promise to your kids.
Exactly.
Okay. What about other expenses? Have you paid for extracurricular activities, and how much were those?
Yeah, I've paid for countless extracurricular activities. He was helping me a bit with half of the sports fees up until September. As of September, I have paid for everything thus far, as far as travel, basketball for all 3 kids. He has not helped, and uniforms, things of that nature, I've paid for all by myself.
And just a rough estimate, how much does that typically add up to? Or how much would you say that adds up to?
That piece in particular, since September, I've paid $621.96 just.
Your Honor, she apparently is reading from something. I'm going to object unless she has knowledge of it, because especially on Zoom, we have no way of determining what she's referring to.
Ms. Greenlee-Flor, what's your response?
Thank you. If I could ask some questions of Ms. Lampkin to clarify.
Okay, go ahead.
Ms. Lampkin, are you referring to a bank statement or a check statement or something in front of you to refresh your memory?
Yes, there are receipts that I have for how much I've paid for their sports since September.
And you're just refreshing your memory by looking at those?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Your Honor, if the refreshment provision of the rule is being determined, I need to see what she's refreshing from.
Is that an exhibit, Ms. Greenlee-Flor, or not?
It's not, but I did ask her for an estimate of how much she was paying, so I mean, she's just providing an estimate of how much she paid. We're not trying to give an exact amount for this court.
Okay, well, $621.96 seems to be pretty accurate.
Yeah, it is what it is, Your Honor.
Okay, well, maybe Ms. Lampkin, if you could just give, when Ms. Greenlee-Flor asked for an estimate, if you could give us an estimate as opposed to referring to another document, that would be appropriate.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Have you asked Rob to contribute to any of these children's expenses?
Yes, I have.
And what has been his response to that?
Typically he ignores it. I've gotten $0, so.
Okay. And just, I'd like the court to make sure that the court takes judicial notice of the PPO case in this matter. I understand Judge Kirkham has also been in front of, also handled that case as well.
I'm not sure what you're taking judicial notice of or what the request is, Your Honor. There is a PPO case there, but as to the details, I'm not sure it's appropriate to take judicial notice of what, that there's an existence. I have no problem with that. It's what the request is.
Ms. Greenlee Floor, what is the request?
That this court take judicial notice that there is a PPO in place against father against
Well,
mother.
the court can take notice of its own files, so.
Thank you. Ms. Lampkin, where do you work?
I work for Carnegie Higher Ed,
Okay, and what is your yearly salary?
84,000.
What hours do you work?
Typically 8:30 to 5:30.
And do you work from home, work in the office?
I work from home.
Okay, and you occasionally have to travel for work?
Yes, typically twice a year.
Okay, and how long are those trips?
4 days total.
Okay, during the week?
Sometimes they're like Wednesday through Saturday, things like that.
Okay, but that's only twice a year?
Yes,
Do you carry the health insurance for the minor children?
I do.
And do you know how much that is?
Yes, it's roughly $300 a month.
Okay, how much, do you know how much is taken out of your paycheck? Each pay period?
I don't know the exact figure off the top of my head. I do have it written down, but
Okay, but it's approximately $300 per month.
yes, I think 292, something along those lines.
And do you also carry any vision or dental?
That's included.
That's included in there. And who does that policy cover?
Delaney, Sadie, and Robbie. And
Okay.
myself.
And does it cover you?
That's separate. That's just for them.
So that's their portion.
Yeah, that's their portion.
What is the total amount, if you know?
I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay, but that is the amount that is just for the 3 kids.
If I can look, I have it written down. I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head.
Okay, that's okay. Does that policy cover your oldest child?
No.
Okay. Does it cover your husband?
No.
Okay. And have you always been the one that's carried that insurance?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go to Mr. Lampkin's job. What does he do for a living?
He's a general contractor.
Okay. And prior to the divorce, did you guys own any businesses?
Yeah, C-Squared Construction.
Okay. And does he have any employees, if you know?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how many employees he has?
It fluctuates. He's at times had, 2 to 15. It really fluctuates.
Okay. And while you were married, what was your lifestyle like?
Honestly, the past several years, we really haven't wanted for anything. The kids always got everything they wanted. We traveled. We had lavish dinners. Him and I had dance lessons. We, had a lot of things that we were able to do that I am now unable to do. But we had a very lavish lifestyle.
Lavish lifestyle, including dance lessons, which I don't know if I want dance lessons. All I want, well, I'm not going to say out loud exactly what I want, but if you know, you know. Anyways.
Okay. So would you say, in your opinion, that he was a successful contractor?
Oh, 100%.
Do you know how many jobs he typically took on?
I do not know.
Okay. Did you ever go to any of those jobs?
I've been to some, I've observed some firsthand, yes.
Okay. What kind of jobs does he do?
Typical general contracting, we're from the roof to framing to, pretty much everything outside of electrical and plumbing, typically.
Okay. What about, how is he typically paid during your marriage?
Um, sometimes cash, sometimes checks. I mean, he was paid numerous different avenues.
So let's talk about the cash. How much cash did he typically have on hand during the marriage?
Oh, Rob always had cash on him. I would say it's hard to estimate, but definitely stacks of cash that he would keep on his person. And I was always concerned about that. He actually lost $3,300 one time just because he had a stack of cash and it fell out of the vehicle and someone took it. He usually had stacks of cash in his vehicle. He also hid it in our household. He would put it like in the freezer. That was a place that he liked to hide money.
That's a really dumb place to hide things because honestly, although I do get it, because some people, like trailer trash people, use a freezer as their safe, but I would say that better off would be a fireproof safe, ladies and gentlemen, to keep your really important items in there. If you have enough cash that you're keeping it in the freezer as opposed to a safe, what kind of business are you doing? I'd like to talk as a money laundering expert, not as somebody who wants to do business with you necessarily. Shh.
At times. So he always had cash. It was something that I was concerned about and I always wanted him to put that money into the bank and he
Into my wallet. Oh my God. Let me just tell you right now. And there have been a few times in my life when I've dated a man or two who has flashed his cash. And I'll say, it's not the best thing in the world, but it ain't the fucking worst thing in the world because I'm not going to explain it, but if they want to flash cash, do they want to give cash? Like, I would love your money. Thank you.
refused.
And did you ever talk about why he didn't want to put that money into the bank?
Honestly, not that I can recall. He just always liked having cash. That was his thing.
Do you know where that cash came from?
I would assume jobs, but I don't know for sure.
Okay. And you never asked him where the cash came from?
Oh my God. Rule number one of hot girlfriend of man who pays you in cash is you don't ask where the cash comes from. Greenlee, Allison. I'm sure that's never occurred to you guys, but I'm just going to explain something to you. When you're the girlfriend of a guy who has a lot of cash around, the like furthest thing from your mind is asking him, "Hmm, where did you get all that cash?" No, okay, especially if he's buying you things, you're just you shut the fuck up. I don't know why that's so difficult to understand. And that's not always somebody doing something illegal. Okay. I'm just explaining that when a man has cash or a woman or anybody has cash and they're lavishing it upon you, you tend not to ask a lot of questions. Prove me fucking wrong. Seriously. And here's the thing. It's okay. You don't have to ask where that cash came from, and they don't need to tell you where the cash came from. And when the cash rains upon everybody and everybody is happy for approximately 6 to 12 hours. Oh, what a 6 to 12 hours it is. Oh, everybody's happy. And the next morning, if that wasn't your cash, you scurry away like the lady of the night that you are. And you don't worry. Nobody comes after you for your well earned money.
It would typically be when he got paid from jobs, but I wouldn't ask necessarily, because I just assumed they were from jobs.
Okay. So I'm going to put up exhibit 2 here on the screen. Let's see if I get the right one up here.
Oh my God, I have to work. Oh my God, what is this gonna be, you guys? I've paused it. First of all, I have to pee. I'm gonna be honest, I have to go to the bathroom. Second thing I'm gonna be honest about, I don't know what this is. I'm sure it's gonna be documents that I don't want to show on my YouTube channel. Thank you, stupid judge. Now I have to sit here and deal with this. Thank you. Let me put on my fake glasses so that I can fucking concentrate more.
Can you identify what this is, Jessica?
Yes, that is Clyde's business account through Huntington Bank.
Okay. And exhibit 2, the dates of this, could you read those to the court?
January 2022, January 1st of 2022 to January 31st, 2022.
Okay. And I'm going to scroll to the last page of this document and or the last statement of this document. So this goes from January 2022 to when?
December 1st, 22 to December 31st, 22.
Okay. And you recognize these statements as Mr. Lampkin's business bank account, is that right?
Correct.
I'd like to move for admission.
Your Honor, again, it's a leading question and it's not into evidence yet. I'm not sure the date, so I object to the leading questions.
Okay, well,
Your Honor, I can
maybe you could ask her a direct question she could identify.
Sure, Ms. Lampkin, can you read the title of this account?
Yes, it says Huntington Business Analyzed Checking.
Thank you. I'd like to move for admission of plaintiff's exhibit 2.
Okay, Mr. Schaefer?
If I can have one moment so I can find the exhibits, just a second.
Okay.
On voir dire,
This is the account ending in 7489.
okay. This does not have any indication of a business account, does it?
It says Huntington Business Analyzed Checking.
I am asking the witness.
Yes,
On
it
voir
is.
dire. You had said it was a business account. Is it anything on there that so indicates?
Yes, sir. It says Business Analyzed Checking.
How many pages is your exhibit, please?
This is just for 2022. This exhibit's 23 pages. So this is the statements for 2022.
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, court will admit plaintiff's exhibit 2, there being no objection.
Thank you. Ms. Lampkin, you were aware of this account during the marriage, correct?
Correct.
And if you know, does Mr. Lampkin have like an LLC or a corporation or anything like that?
LLC.
Okay, so it was your understanding that this was the LLC account?
Objection,
Exactly.
leading question, Your Honor.
Screenly, Clara, if you could clarify.
What kind of account was what was your understanding that this account was for, Jessica?
This business checking account was for C-Squared Construction.
Okay, and you said C-Squared Construction?
Yes, LLC.
And that was his business?
Correct.
Okay, if you know, were there any partners or other owners, co-owners of that business?
They are not.
Okay, and this was part of a set of bank statements that we subpoenaed from Mr. Lampkin, correct?
Correct. Oh, no, these are the ones that I supplied because I was also a user on the account at the time.
Okay, so you were a user on this 7489 account.
Correct.
Okay. And you took the time to go through this year, the 2022 statements for this account, correct?
Correct.
Do you recall, roughly how much in deposits you calculated for 2022 from these statements?
Over 200,000.
Okay, and that's just for this account, correct?
Correct.
Now, how did you calculate those deposits?
Over 200,000.
I went through, as you can see, it says deposit.
Ma'am, over $200,000 of deposits, but he says he makes 30,000 a year. That's a question. We have a question. That's a question. If he says he makes $30,000 a year.
It's in this case, it says on January 6th, there was $2,450 deposited.
Okay, and so you just went through and counted the amount of the deposits that were deposited into this account.
Exactly. And then in this case, there was a square payment, and he did use square payments sometimes for the business. So there are a few of those. I think there are only two possibly for 2022.
Okay, so so we're looking at January 12th. This is what you're referring to down here?
Correct.
Okay, and what is Square, if you know?
It's a way to accept credit card payments.
Okay, so he made deposits, and if you know, were these cash?
Again, I'm going to object to the leading question. There's no testimony as to who made the deposit. She's a user on the account.
I'll withdraw that question, Your Honor. Ms. Lampkin, do you know if there were any other authorized users on this account?
There were not.
And how do you know that?
It was just him and I on there.
Could you see that when you logged into the account?
No, I just was an authorized user through the bank.
Okay, but to the best of your knowledge, information, belief, there were no other authorized users on this account.
Correct. And I never made a single deposit here.
Okay, so to the best of your knowledge, information, and belief, this account was solely used to deposit money from his business.
Correct.
Again, objection, Your Honor. If that no foundation laid that she would know whether or not it came from some other source.
Well, I think she can testify as to best of her knowledge, and she stated they were the only one authorized on the account, so we can, I guess, assume that, but I don't think that's a big point. You can address that on cross-examination.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Lampkin, after going through the 2022 year of these statements for the account ending in 7489, you came up with a total of over $200,000 in deposits, correct?
Correct.
Do you know if Mr. Lampkin, what he spent this money on?
I do not.
Okay. I'd like to bring up Exhibit 1. Mr. Schaefer. This will be the Huntington bank statements ending in 4077. Let me know when you've got them.
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Jessica, can you identify what this is?
Yes, this is our joint Huntington checking account.
Okay, and was this used, what was this account used for?
This was one of our primary bank accounts that we use collectively.
And is this the account that your pay went into?
For a time, yes.
Okay. When you say for a time, what does that mean?
We eventually switched over my paycheck to go into the other joint account with MCCU.
Okay. And did Mr. Lampkin ever make any deposits in this account?
I see that, Hector. I wonder what will happen. Again, I would love to be the West Coast correspondent for any cases, Mikey. I'm sure he's busy or doing what he do. Anyways, let's continue watching this until a we'll see what happens. My friends, I love you.
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, information, belief, were only you and Clyde on this account?
Correct.
Did anyone else have access to this account or ever make any deposits to your knowledge, information, belief?
No.
So if there are deposits in this account, they would have come from you or Mr. Lampkin.
Correct.
And what kind of deposits did Mr. Lampkin make into this account?
Again, I would ask Foundation before she answers that. Your Honor.
Your Honor,
I think she can ask. I don't know what the objection is, Mr. Schaefer.
Objection, no foundation has been made that she knows what kind of deposits that the husband made to the account.
Well, she wasn't asking what kind, she said what deposits. I think she can testify what the deposits were. I'll overrule the objection. Go ahead.
There were $220,000 worth of deposits that Clyde made alone. I did not make any of those deposits.
so that's the rough amount of deposits that Clyde made in 2022 to your joint checking account. Is that correct?
Correct.
And how did you calculate those deposits?
I went through each of the deposits on the statements and deducted the ones from, as you can see, Bluefish Consulting was one of mine. The other one is Insperity. Those are the only two that I ever had deposited into the account.
So let's look at this first statement from January of 2022. I'm sorry, I don't think I moved for admission of Plaintiff's Exhibit 1.
Okay. Mr. Schaefer, any response?
No objection, Your Honor.
You did, I didn't hear you. You say you have no objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay. Court will admit Plaintiff's Exhibit 1, there being no objection.
Okay. Jessica, I want to go down to the deposits here. So you just referenced here that, well, let me go back a little bit. So this is a statement from which date to which date?
January 15th, 2022 to February 14th of 2022.
Okay. And if we look at the deposits down here on the first page of this exhibit, you said the Bluefish Consulting QuickBooks, this was your job?
Yes, at the time.
Okay. And you no longer have that job?
I do not.
And again, this was from January 2022. So this was 2 years ago at this point.
Correct.
Okay. I'm looking here at two deposits on January 24th, one for 22,000, one for 14,548.89. Do you know what those deposits are from?
Those deposits were made by Clyde. I do not, I'm assuming they were.
Objection to the assumptions, Your Honor.
Okay,
I
sustained.
don't know. I don't
Okay.
know what they were from.
You don't know what they were from. Okay. All right. And then we have some transfer from savings. Do you know what these are?
I do not.
Okay. Do you recognize these account numbers here?
It says they're savings accounts, so I'm assuming they're our savings accounts. I don't know the account numbers off the top of my head.
Okay. So when you went through to calculate, as you stated, when you went through to calculate your where you got the 220,000 for 2022 for this bank account deposits, you deducted your deposits to come up with that amount.
Yes, ma'am. And I did not include any transfers. It was only deposits.
Okay, so if we're looking here, these transfers from savings, you deducted these from that total.
Correct. I only tallied up the deposits.
Okay.
That were not mine.
So we saw $200,000 from one account and $220,000 from this account. So now we're at a total of $440,000 for the year. Is that right?
Correct.
If we bring up, I'm going to bring up another exhibit, Exhibit 3, Mr. Schaefer. If you want a moment to look at that, that's the Marshall statement. It's a 25 pages for 2022.
We've going for an hour and a half. There is in fact a real chase going on. Why don't we go watch that? I'll post a link. I'm done anyways. Honestly, guys, there's people at my house that are asking me to create items of food that I don't that don't exist already, that I need to go make. So, let me I'm literally gonna post the link right now to the chase. I want you to go watch it, enjoy it. Hope you have a good time. I prayed for a chase today, so this might be one of the things I prayed for today. Oh my God, Creed and Mikey are there. I'll post a link right now. Please remember that I love you. I'm proud of you. I mean that. I really am. I'm so proud of you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? I love you guys.